My girlfriend answers one question every night in her sleep. I think she just confessed to murder. I'd ask my girlfriend Laura a random question every night as she drifted off to sleep. She was a deep sleeper, the kind who could fall asleep in the middle of a conversation, and I discovered by accident that she would sometimes answer questions in her sleep. "Who's your favorite superhero?" I had asked one night. "Spider-Man," she mumbled, her voice thick with sleep. It was silly, just a little game to pass the time. Sometimes I'd ask her about her day or what she wanted for breakfast, and she'd answer in that same dreamy, half-asleep tone. It became our little routine, something that made me smile before I drifted off to sleep myself. But then, a few weeks ago, something changed. That night I asked her, "What's your biggest secret?" I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe something like, "I hate doing laundry," or "I eat chocolate in bed." But what she said instead made my blood run cold. "I killed him," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. "What did you say?" I whispered back, half hoping she wouldn't answer, that it was just a fluke, a dream she was having. But she repeated it, a little louder this time, her voice clear despite the fact that she was still deeply asleep. "I killed him." I stared at her, my mind racing. I couldn't believe what I had just heard. Laura, the sweet, kind woman I'd been dating for almost 2 years, had just confessed to murder in her sleep. I wanted to shake her awake, to demand an explanation, but I was too afraid. What if it was true? What if she had actually killed someone? The rest of the night, I lay there wide awake, my thoughts spiraling out of control. I kept replaying her words in my head, trying to make sense of them, but I couldn't. It didn't make any sense. Laura wasn't capable of something like that. Was she? The next morning, I watched her carefully as she got ready for work, looking for any sign that something was off. But she was her usual self, smiling and chatting as she made coffee and packed her lunch. I wanted to ask her about what she had said, but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding crazy. "Did you sleep well?" I asked instead, my voice a little too casual. She smiled and nodded. "Yeah, I feel great. Why?" "No reason," I said, forcing a smile. I spent the whole day in a fog, my mind unable to focus on anything but Laura's sleepy confession. I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know what. Should I confront her? Should I go to the police? But what would I even say? My girlfriend confessed to murder in her sleep? That night, I decided to test her again. I waited until she was asleep, her breathing slow and steady, and then I asked, "Who did you kill?" There was a long pause, and for a moment, I thought she wasn't going to answer. But then, in that same eerie, sleep-filled voice, she said, "I didn't mean to." My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. "Who didn't you mean to kill?" I whispered, barely able to get the words out. "Michael," she said softly. Michael. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. I knew a Michael. In fact, Laura and I had both known him, her ex-boyfriend. He had died in a car accident about a year before Laura and I started dating. She had told me about it once, how devastated she had been, how she had blamed herself for his death because they had fought that day. But she had never mentioned anything about this. "Laura," I said, shaking her gently. "Laura, wake up." She stirred and opened her eyes, blinking sleepily at me. "What is it?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep. I need to ask you something," I said, my voice trembling. "Do you remember what you were just dreaming about?" She frowned, looking confused. "No. Why?" "You were talking in your sleep," I said carefully. "You said something about Michael." Her face paled, and for a moment, I thought she was going to pass out. "What did I say?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You said you killed him," I said, my heart racing. "You said you didn't mean to." She stared at me, her eyes wide with fear. I don't remember saying that," she whispered, shaking her head. "I swear, I don't remember." "Laura," I said, grabbing her hand. "You need to tell me the truth. What really happened to Michael?" She pulled her hand away from mine and stood up, wrapping her arms around herself as if she were cold. "It was an accident," she said, her voice trembling. "We were arguing, and he got so angry. He stormed out of the house, and I ran after him trying to stop him, but he got in his car and drove off. I tried to grab the door to stop him, but he drove away so fast. I lost my balance and fell. When I got up, I saw his car speeding down the road.